Isaiah 43 is not just a passage, it is a declaration from God Himself, a reminder that no matter what you face, no matter what the world tries to throw at you, His presence is with you. It is a promise, a divine assurance that when He calls you, He doesn't just call you to survive, He calls you to walk in His presence with boldness. I have called you by name, you are mine. That is not a suggestion. That is a declaration from the Almighty. Do you understand the weight of those words? The God who created the heavens and the earth, the one who formed the seas and set the stars in place, knows your name. He didn't just speak the universe into existence and leave you to figure things out on your own. No, He is with you. And He wants you to know that beyond the noise of this world, beyond the battles you face, there is a presence that never leaves. That presence is the very presence of God Himself. So many people today are searching for something real. They chase after success, relationships, validation from the world, but they still feel empty. They go from one thing to the next, hoping something will finally give them peace. But listen to me, you will never find true peace apart from the presence of God. You can have all the money in the world, all the influence, all the recognition, but if you do not have the presence of God in your life, you will still feel lost, because you were created for Him. And the enemy knows that. He will do everything in his power to make you doubt whether God is with you. He will whisper lies that tell you you're forgotten, that you're not enough, that God is distant. But Isaiah 43 reminds us of the truth. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. When God calls you His, He means it. He doesn't abandon His own. He doesn't walk away. He doesn't forget. But here's the question. Do you live like you believe it? Do you walk like a child of God, knowing His presence goes before you? Or do you live in fear, questioning whether He still sees you? You see, it's one thing to hear the promise. It's another thing to believe it. And let me tell you, the moment you believe, really believe, that His presence is with you, everything changes. Moses understood this. When God called him to lead Israel, Moses didn't ask for more signs, more miracles, or even more strength. He said, if your presence does not go with us, do not send us up from here. Because he knew that without God's presence, nothing else mattered. And that is the posture we need today. Not chasing temporary blessings, not seeking what the world offers, but saying, Lord, if your presence is not in it, because when God's presence is with you, fear has to leave, anxiety has to bow, confusion has no place. You may walk through difficult seasons, but you will never walk alone. You may face challenges, but you will not be defeated. Because the presence of God is a shield, a covering, a refuge. And Isaiah 43 tells us that no matter what we go through, He is with us. Not just watching from a distance, not just giving instructions from the heavens, He is with us. He is with us. That means when you are struggling, He is with you. When you feel forgotten, He is with you. When you don't have the answers, He is still there. And when you pray, when you seek Him, when you call on His name, you are not speaking into the air. You are speaking to the God who hears, the God who knows, the God who moves on behalf of His people. And I know some of you are thinking, but I don't feel Him. Listen to me. Faith is not about feeling. Faith is about believing what He said. And He said, I have called you by name, you are mine. That means even when you don't feel Him, He is there. Even when life feels heavy, His presence has not left you. And the moment you start to pray, the moment you lift your hands and surrender, you will begin to sense what was there all along. So, I want you to ask yourself right now, are you living in the confidence of His presence, or are you walking in fear, wondering if He's still with you? Because the truth is, you don't have to beg for His presence. You don't have to chase it. He has already promised it. What you need to do is step into it. Pray with expectation. Walk with assurance. Live with the unshakable confidence that you belong to Him. And when you do, everything changes. Fear loses its grip. Doubt begins to fade. And you will walk not as someone who is barely making it, not as someone who is just surviving, but as a child of the Most High God, secure in the presence of the one who called you by name. Fear is a thief. It sneaks in when you least expect it, whispering lies that try to shake your faith, trying to convince you that you are alone, that you are not enough, that you are too far gone. But listen to me. Fear is not from God. Isaiah 43 tells us, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you." That is not a suggestion, that is a command from the Almighty. You see, fear is not just an emotion, it is a spiritual battle. And the enemy will use fear to keep you from stepping into the life God has for you. He will use it to make you question your worth, your purpose, and even your salvation. But God's word is clear. You don't have to live in fear because you have been redeemed. And redemption is not temporary. It is not based on how you feel or what you've done. It is the unshakable truth that when God calls you His, nothing can separate you from Him. Now, I don't know what you've been through. I don't know the battles you've had to fight or the weight you've been carrying, but I do know this. God's redemption is greater than your past. Some of you have been carrying guilt and shame for too long, believing the lie that what you've done is too bad, that you've gone too far, that God couldn't possibly love you after everything. But Isaiah 43 doesn't say, "Fear not," unless you've made too many mistakes. It doesn't say, "Fear not," unless you've failed too many times. No, it says, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you." That means your past doesn't define you. Your failures don't define you. And when God redeems something, He restores it. He doesn't just pull you out of darkness and leave you broken. He makes you new. He gives you a new name, a new identity, a new future. The world may try to remind you of your past, but God says, "You are mine." You hear that? You are His. That is why you don't have to fear, because if you belong to God, what can the enemy do to you? If you belong to God, what can this world take from you? Some of you have been living in fear because you're trying to fight battles that only God can win. You're trying to prove yourself, trying to fix things in your own strength, trying to control outcomes that were never meant to be in your hands. But let me tell you something. Redemption is God's work, not yours. That means you don't have to carry the weight of it. You don't have to fix yourself before you come to Him. You don't have to earn His love. He has already redeemed you. And when you realize that, fear loses its power. Because fear thrives in uncertainty. Fear makes you ask, what if God doesn't come through? What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail again? But faith says, I don't have to have all the answers. I just have to trust the one who does. When you know you are redeemed, you stop living like a prisoner to fear. You stop running from your past, and you start walking in the confidence of your salvation. There is something powerful about a person who truly knows they are redeemed. They don't live in fear of people's opinions. They don't let their past mistakes hold them back. They don't shrink back when life gets hard because they know that no matter what happens, they belong to God. And when you belong to God, you are never without hope. So let me ask you, are you living like someone who has been redeemed, or are you still letting fear have a say in your life? Because the truth is, you don't have to be afraid anymore. Not of your past, not of your future, not of what people think, not of what tomorrow holds, because the one who redeemed you holds it all in his hands, and he is not going to let you go. And if you ever doubt that, if you ever wonder whether he still sees you, whether he still loves you, whether he is still with you, remember this: fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. That is the voice of your Father speaking. That is the voice of the one who paid the price for you. And when he calls you his, nothing can take that away. Life will test you. There will be moments when the waters rise so high you feel like you're drowning. When the fire gets so hot, you wonder if you'll make it through. But hear me. God never promised you wouldn't go through deep waters. He never said you wouldn't face the fire. What he promised was that when you walk through it, you will not be alone. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. That is the promise of Isaiah 43. That is the assurance of God's presence. Some of you are in a season where you feel like the waves just keep coming. You barely catch your breath before the next one hits. You're fighting battles that no one knows about, carrying burdens that feel too heavy to bear, and the enemy wants you to believe that because you're struggling, it must mean God has left you, that because you're in the fire, God must have abandoned you. But that is a lie. You see, the presence of trials does not mean the absence of God. It means he is right there with you, holding you up, making a way where there seems to be no way. Think about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were thrown into the fire, not because they did something wrong, but because they refused to bow. And when King Nebuchadnezzar looked into that furnace, he didn't just see the three men who had been thrown in. He saw a fourth man walking with them, untouched by the flames. God didn't pull them out before they went in. He didn't stop them from facing the fire, but he was with them in it. And because of that, they came out without even the smell of smoke on them. That is the kind of God you serve. He is not just a God of the mountaintops. He is the God of the valleys, the storms, the fire. He doesn't just show up when everything is easy. He walks with you through the hardest moments of your life. When you feel overwhelmed, when you feel like you can't take another step, when you're wondering how you're going to make it, he is there. And he is not just watching from a distance. He is holding you, guiding you, strengthening you. But here's the thing. You have to walk through it. You can't give up in the middle of the fire. You can't stop in the middle of the storm. The enemy wants you to quit. He wants you to believe that this trial is the end of your story. But if you quit now, you will never see the victory that is waiting on the other side. because God never said the fire wouldn't come. He said it wouldn't consume you. He never said the waters wouldn't rise. He said they wouldn't sweep you away. That means you can keep walking. You can keep believing, because the one who walks with you is greater than anything that stands against you. Some of you need to stop asking, why am I going through this? And start asking, God, what are you trying to show me in this? Because sometimes the fire isn't there to destroy you, it's there to refine you. Sometimes the waters aren't there to drown you, they're there to teach you to trust Him in ways you never have before. And when you come out on the other side, you will be stronger, wiser, more rooted in His presence than ever before. Because the enemy thought this fire would take you out. He thought the waves would break you. He thought this storm would silence your faith. But what he didn't realize was that God was using it to make you unshakable. He was using it to show you that your faith is not in circumstances, it is in the unchanging, unmovable presence of the living God. So, I believe in the victory. When you walk through this, when you come out on the other side, that you are not alone. Aipa. There is power in knowing who you belong to. In a world that tries to label you, define you, and tell you who you are, there is something unshakable about standing firm in the identity God has given you. I have called you by name, you are mine. That is what Isaiah 43 declares. That is what the Lord Himself has spoken. And when God calls you His, nothing can take that away. Some of you have spent years trying to prove yourself, trying to earn love, trying to fit into places you were never meant to be. You've allowed the opinions of people to shape the way you see yourself. Maybe someone told you that you weren't good enough and you believed it. Maybe life has beaten you down so many times that you've started to wonder if you even matter. But let me tell you something. You are not who the world says you are. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You belong to God. And when He says, you are mine, He is not speaking to a perfect version of you. He is not just claiming the parts of you that have it all together. He is calling you His even in your brokenness, even in your weakness, even in the moments when you feel unworthy. Because His love is not based on your performance, it is based on who He is, and He is faithful. Now the enemy will do everything he can to make you forget that. He will remind you of every failure, every flaw, every reason why you should doubt yourself. He will use people to speak words over you that try to tear you down. He will try to plant seeds of insecurity and fear, because if he can get you to question who you are, he can keep you from stepping into what God has called you to be. But listen, God did not call you by your failures. He did not call you by your past. He called you by name. When the enemy says you are worthless, God says, you are mine. When the world says you will never be enough, God says, you are mine. When your own heart is filled with doubt and fear, God's voice still declares, you are mine. And if you belong to God, then nothing in this world can define you. Not rejection, not failure, not the opinions of others. Your worth does not come from how many people approve of you. It does not come from what you have or what you've accomplished. Your worth comes from the one who formed you, who redeemed you, who called you his own. Do you know what that means? It means you don't have to live for the approval of people. It means you don't have to keep striving, keep performing, keep trying to prove your value. It means you can walk in confidence, not because of who you are, but because of whose you are. Some of you have been living like you are unwanted, like you are forgotten, like you have no place, no purpose, no belonging. But God is saying to you today, you are mine. You don't have to search for identity in things that will never satisfy you. You don't have to let the wounds of your past dictate your future. You don't have to let the voices of doubt drown out the truth of God's love. Because when God calls you his, he is not making a temporary claim. He is not saying you are mine until you mess up again. He is not saying you are mine until life gets hard. No, he is saying you are mine forever. That is the kind of love he has for you. A love that does not waver, a love that does not fade, a love that holds you in the palm of his hand and refuses to let go. So stand firm in that truth. Walk in that confidence. No matter what comes against you, no matter who doubts you, no matter what battles you face, remember this: he has called you by name, and you belong to him. Fear is a thief. It will rob you of your peace, steal your joy, and keep you bound in chains that were never meant for you. It will whisper lies in the quiet places of your mind, telling you that you are not strong enough, not good enough, not worthy enough. But God's word declares something different. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. That is the promise of Isaiah 43. That is the truth you must hold onto. Because fear is not just a feeling, it is a strategy. And if the enemy can keep you afraid, he can keep you from stepping into the life God has called you to live. Some of you are facing battles right now that seem overwhelming. You feel like the weight of the world is pressing down on your shoulders, and you don't know if you can take another step. You lie awake at night wondering how things are going to work out, questioning if God even hears you. And fear is trying to convince you that you are alone, that you are powerless, that this situation is bigger than you. But hear me, you are not alone. You are not abandoned. You are not fighting this battle in your own strength. The God who spoke the universe into existence, the God who holds all things together, the God who calls you by name, he is with you. And if he is with you, then what do you have to fear? The enemy thrives in fear. He will use it to keep you stuck in the past. He will use it to make you doubt the future. He will use it to silence your faith, to paralyze your obedience, to make you shrink back when you should be moving forward. But fear is a lie. Fear is a shadow. It has no real power, and the moment you choose to trust God more than you fear the unknown, the moment you decide that his presence is greater than your circumstances, that is the moment fear loses its grip on you. Think about the disciples in the storm. The waves were crashing, the wind was howling, and their boat was being tossed like a leaf in the wind. They panicked. They thought they were going to die. And then they saw Jesus walking on the water. But instead of being comforted, they were even more afraid, because fear will blind you to the presence of God. Fear will make you think that he has abandoned you when he is right there, standing in the middle of the storm with you. And what did Jesus say? Take courage. It is I. Do not be afraid. That is what he is saying to you right now. Some of you have been waiting for the storm to calm down before you trust Him, waiting for the fear to go away before you step out in faith. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is trusting God in spite of it. It is choosing to believe that even if the storm doesn't stop, even if the waters keep rising, even if things don't go the way you planned, He is still with you. And if He is with you, then you can walk on the very thing that was meant to take you down. The enemy doesn't want you to know that. He wants you to stay in the boat, afraid to step out, afraid to trust, afraid to believe. But God is calling you higher. He is calling you to a faith that is stronger than fear, a confidence that is unshaken by circumstances. He is not asking you to figure it all out. He is asking you to trust Him. So what is fear keeping you from today? What step of faith have you been afraid to take? What promise of God have you been afraid to believe? Because the moment you realize that fear has no place in the presence of God, the moment you choose to trust His voice over the voices of doubt and insecurity, that is the moment everything changes. You don't have to live in fear. You don't have to stay stuck in anxiety, worrying about things that are out of your control. You serve a God who holds all things in His hands, who walks with you through every fire, who speaks peace into every storm. And if He says, "Do not be afraid, for I am with you," then that is enough. That is the promise you can stand on. That is the truth that sets you free. There are moments in life when it feels like everything is working against you. You pray, but heaven seems silent. You push forward, but the road only gets harder. You try to stay strong, but weariness begins to settle in. And in those moments, it is easy to wonder, God, where are you? It is easy to think that maybe He has forgotten you, that maybe you have wandered too far, that maybe His promises don't apply to you anymore. But listen, God does not abandon His own. He does not forget the ones He has called by name. And when He says, "I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert," He is not just speaking poetically. He is declaring His power over every impossible situation in your life. Some of you feel like you are in a wilderness right now, a dry place, an empty place, a place where nothing seems to be moving. You've tried everything you know how to do and still nothing changes. But the wilderness is not your final destination. The desert is not where your story ends. Because God specializes in making a way where there is no way. He is the God who split the Red Sea, who brought water from a rock, who fed His people with manna from heaven. He is not limited by what you see. He is not bound by the conditions of this world. And just because you don't see a way out right now does not mean He isn't making one. Think about the Israelites. They stood at the edge of the Red Sea with the Egyptian army closing in behind them. In their eyes, they were trapped. There was no way forward, no way to escape. But what did God say? "Be still and see the salvation of the Lord." And in that moment, He did what no one expected. He made a way through the very thing that seemed impossible. That same God is with you. That same God is making a way in your life, even if you can't see it yet. But here's the thing. God's way is not always the way you expect. Sometimes He parts the sea, and sometimes He gives you strength to walk through the storm. Sometimes He removes the obstacle, and sometimes He calls you to climb it. His ways are higher than ours, His thoughts beyond our understanding. And if you are in a season where the path ahead looks unclear, don't let doubt take over. Don't let fear dictate your next move. Just because you don't have all the answers doesn't mean God isn't working. The wilderness is where faith is refined. The desert is where trust is tested. When everything is stripped away, when you have no choice but to rely on Him, that is when you truly see His power. That is when you truly know His presence. And when He says, I am making a way, it means He is already ahead of you, preparing the road, clearing the obstacles, making a path where there was none before. Some of you have been praying for a breakthrough, but it feels like the more you pray, the harder things get. But listen, sometimes the struggle is proof that God is moving. Sometimes the resistance means you are on the verge of something greater. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you so hard if there wasn't something powerful on the other side of this season. Do not grow weary. Do not give up. The God who promised to make a way in the wilderness is not a man that He should lie. His timing is perfect. His plan is sure. And if He said He will do it, He will do it. Keep walking, keep believing, keep trusting, because even in the driest places, even in the most impossible circumstances, He is making a way.